Hello, everyone. Welcome to another one of my Ascension messages. My name is Bobbie, and I will be your guide for today. Today, I'm going to do some channeling. We're getting through quite a few messages at the moment from my team. My team is the Pleiadians, the Cyanians. Cyanians came to me in a dream. They're very high-end Pleiadian beings, like Blu-ray beings that come very close. They reside very close to source energy, so they have a lot of different understandings of different levels of realities and dimensions. They're very expansive. It's like an expanded Pleiadian. They are very see-through. They're tall, and they literally look like they have the universe within them. They can morph into spirit balls. They came into a dream of mine many years ago and told me that there was going to be this fall of this reality and uprising of a whole new reality. So I channel them through now, and I call them the Cyanians. So maybe there's another name for somebody else, might call them something else, but that's what I was told to call them. Hey, Annika, good to see you. And Wade, thank you for that. Putting the #1 like on my YouTube. I do have a school called AMAKEL. It's an intuitive school. If you want to go join it, it's on Patreon. You can try out a couple of the lessons for free. And if you join the Ruby class, it's all of the telepathic games. There's about 60 or more telepathic games. I'm just putting up another 3 now. And then there's lessons as well if you want to take the silver tier. It's only a few dollars a month if you want to join, but it's going to be an expansive school. I'm just going to keep on adding to it till there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games and lessons on it so that you can try them out whenever you want. Hey, Debbie, good to see you, and Celtic. Also, in about a week and a bit, I will be traveling to New York. So if you live in New York, you can come and see me in person. And I have quite a few events been laid out for me if you want to book a ticket there. 2 of them are at Bedford Studio in I think it's Port Washington. I hope I got that right. And one of them's at the library there as well, and a blue Rays of Light. I'll be speaking at that too with a beautiful guy called Tim. We will be chatting together. It's going to be quite exciting, a very exciting trip. I've also been asked to go to Peru. So we'll see what happens with that one. It's very, very new. I haven't even Zoom called the lady yet, but that's exciting. So it looks like my journeys are going to keep on going around the world like I predicted. It's very interesting where this is all going. Excuse me. So let's get into these channeled messages. Is there anything else that I've forgotten when it comes to housekeeping? I am an intuitive counselor. If you want to book me one-on-one, my link is down below. Go to my website, codes to a new reality.com, and you can click on intuitive readings and book me if you want a one-on-one. So that's really cool too. I'm very good, and I have literally heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of reviews. I've been doing this for a few years now. Done it well over like 600-700 readings. So yeah, and I have a lot of people who come back, returnees. So if you want to have a reading with me, that's open as well. Okay, guys, but I will be closing it off next week when I go to New York just for a bit until I get the time zone right again in New York. Just while I travel, because I'll be losing a day traveling from New Zealand. Right. Okay. Hey, Celtic. Good to see you in the chat bar as well. Let's get into these channel messages. Right. I have been getting some pretty profound messages about this new reality that we're creating. Once we start to integrate our soul into us, it's just going to change everything, like everything, because the way that we see ourselves in our world changes. The way that we perceive our power changes. The way that we understand that we can actually enjoy our life. It all changes everything. So there's a couple of messages here about that, and I will read them off my phone. I channel these through sometimes at nighttime, and yeah, just like to share them with you before I start channeling live. So, and sometimes they come through and give me more information when I do channel this through, read this out, sorry. First of all, it says that there's intense craziness that obviously we all know this. There's intense craziness that's happening all over the world at the moment. And I mean, it's been happening for a while. We know that, but it's actually going to ramp up and ramp up and ramp up because this intense so called craziness is something that's giving us a new direction, and it's opening us up to, well, I might as well be me. I might as well follow my authentic path because I'm not fitting in anymore, or crazy's happening out there anyway. So why not just do me? Just do exactly what makes you feel really, really good about yourself, what you're passionate about, what your desires are. Might as well just take a leap of faith and do it, because the more you hold on to the old program, the old matrix, the old story of doing what doesn't make you feel good is going to dissolve or get really intensely in, like, hard for you, difficult, a difficult path to follow, because it will just get more and more it won't feel good, because more and more of us on this world and this planet are actually waking up and enlightening ourselves. And so you're going to see yourself as, why do I feel so crap when that person over there doesn't? And I literally showing you a path that you can take your own authentic trip as well. This is what I'm doing. Like I always said to myself for decades, I've always said I want to be a leading example. If I do something, if I say something, I want to be a leading example of it. And so I've put myself in really awkward positions to be able to get myself out so that I can help others as well. So this intense crazy in our life at the moment shows up everything because it's helping people think about how far they can push their reality. And by push, I mean do what truly makes us happy, because we don't care as much to hold on to something that makes us feel bad when crazy is happening anyway. So yeah. Thanks, Celtic, for putting all of that as usual in my bar. You guys are beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love my team. I love my soul tribe. You guys are just awesome. Really, really good. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I love my team. I love my soul tribe. You guys are just awesome. Really, really good. And I'm still getting a couple of donations as well, which is just everything is going to go into these trips. I'm just going to keep on moving through life and getting these messages out there as much as possible. And I do feel for really weirdly that I'm meant to be in New York, just like when I had premonition dreams to go to Uluru, and I had an really huge interaction with the inside the rock of Uluru. Yeah, there's a story there on my YouTube about that, and I ended up being picked out of a hat by David Icke's team first up after I had this dream of actually going on a bus to Uluru. Well, now I feel there's something happening in New York, and weirdly enough, other channelers are going as well. So we have Matthias Stefano, Di Stefano, I think that's how you say his name. He's just come from New York and he's now, I think, in Hawaii. So he's just been. Now I'm coming next week. There is another channeler, I can't remember her name. I keep forgetting the other lady's name. Sorry about that. She's going to be at the same time as I am in New York. So I think that there's a pull together of feminine energy there, because another lady who's a channeler and close to Pleiades. So both of us are really close to Pleiades. So there's some sort of energetics, and they're showing me a spiral of energy that's going to be formed in New York at the moment. And it's something to do with shifting, about shifting what's happening. There's a lot over there that are caught in that plane matrix, that are still living kind of a deception within their self of feeling bad but still trying to hold on to something because they've found wealth through it, but they still feel terrible about their life, or there's something missing. And there's something to do with that, but also igniting the new path that they can go on that's actually way better. That's happening. And then straight after I leave, about a month later, Bashar is coming to New York. So there's all these like channelers that are coming, high-end channelers that are coming to New York at the moment. And I know it's to do with some work that's happening with Mother Earth. It's really important. And I know that my journey is going to take me around these specific places to help ignite the land. It's like a remembrance of ancient times through Atlantis, Lemuria, and the Pleiadian connection that was there at that time. There's something to do with that. And I think I started in Uluru because of a true awakening that was going to happen that started. I had to initiate something that was going to happen on the 21st of the 12th, 2021, I think it was, where I did a massive meditation with Uluru. It was really intriguing, where the energy pulled through me, and I had a very, very, very still mind at that moment, and I literally saw lines of energy going back to my home, New Zealand, and then branching out to the rest of the world. And it was going to ignite a lot, and it has since then. Like, so much has changed, but there's even a bigger change that's going to take place, and a lot more crumbling of the old matrix as well. Okay, let's get back into this message about our soul's acceptance is going to change everything. This is literally setting us up for this new earth, this our soul's acceptance and how we look at ourselves. So humanity's resistance levels will change as we acknowledge our soul's advice. So the feelings of resistance are used to are used to know. Sorry, are used to know when to change. I'll start that again. The feelings of resistance are used to know when to change, which evolves and improves one's reality. But whatever we put up with before by humanity will not be anymore, because our resistance shifts when our soul ignites in our DNA, in our body, and then all of a sudden we just don't put up with. We just won't put up with less and less and less and less. We just won't put up with, because it doesn't make our soul feel good. So any stress will only be taken so far before humanity uses their wisdom to focus and imagine a new path, so that their stress levels will not be so much so that the soul wants to leave. And that's what usually happens. If the soul wants to leave, it will leave. It will find a way. It will even eat at its own body. It will actually kill off cells within itself. It will literally consume itself in the light of itself, and so can actually escape from the body and move to the next dimension. Even if that next dimension is a holding cell, so to speak, holding level or holding dimension, where they have to come back and repeat the same lesson, because the soul didn't evolve in this body, in this form, when it was meant to. There's a chance for a soul to evolve and as a human on this planet, and if you haven't taken that evolutional step while you're alive, then you're more likely to come back and repeat. And a lot of people have done this over and over. So instead, the soul will direct the logical program within one's mind to acknowledge the need and expand and make changes, shifting neuron paths to match that which the soul knows can be grounded to improve one's life. So there's a different path that happens. Instead of the soul going, I hate this, it's very stressful, I'm only kind of halfway here, I'm not even in the body fully, I'm not ignited within the cells, I'm not my magical self, my authentic self. Then it will give more and more things. You'll face more and more things or storylines in your life that will show up as these massive resistance. And then it's not until you go, okay, it's something within myself that I have to change, because your soul wants to ignite more into your body. It wants to come ground more into your physical vessel. And so it's that wanting to do that will either create that resistance, or that resistance can show you, when you start to turn it inwards, you start to change your logical memories of things, or your logical thinking about things, or how you're talking to yourself, in other words the monkey mind, to say, stop, I don't want to repeat that over and over again. I don't need to protect myself by rethinking over crap in my life. I will stop that and create a new path or a new neuron. Now that's when the imagination comes in, And the soul is connected to that imagination, which is now then acknowledging the soul as part of our reality. It's not, humanity has been existing too long just in a physical vessel, thinking that there is no soul, or the soul is something separated from itself. And it's not, it's actually all entwined. Even the body is part of the soul's creation. It's really interesting. We're not just, the body is the soul's creation in a physical way. So the more that we ground our soul within ourselves, which is literal magic held in within our imagination, the more we become that magical self. And the more that we have these abilities that start to shine, like telepathy, telekinesis, and all of that sort of stuff, the abilities to shift energies, ability to clean polluted water just by holding your hand out, the ability to um, uh, shift and change weather. It's interesting to note too, they're saying to me, there's those that have built things that can change the weather. But at the same time, the reflection has to happen where the inner core of people, there's many people that can actually change weather patterns just by holding a frequency of that, which is missing within the dynamics of the place that, or the location that tornado was, when there wasn't enough peace. They hold the peace, and so the tornado would just sort of, oh well, I've got nothing, no energy to whirl up, and so it just sort of dissipates. Same with tsunamis. I acknowledge my emotions, and I love that I have emotions, and I'm not resisting them, and so the tsunamis don't come up, and the water comes up and takes over the land, or so forth. And yeah, so there's those that have an understanding on how to manipulate the elements. Yeah, anything outside of us is something that can be done within us. It's only reflected outside of us as an imbalance of those that were in charge trying to control you by creating the device outside of you to say that you aren't in control of yourself. And so we've been reliant on all these devices outside of us, telephones included, being that we aren't telepathic. Yeah, so all that's going to change when we start to get the soul coming in. But another really big thing that came up about the soul being ignited and us stepping into these new worlds, and what it actually is going to start to look like, because we're not going to take the same jobs. We're going to start listening to our passions and desires. We're not, what feels good is going to override what feels what we thought would feel safe. Feeling good in the moment is going to override the whole I need to overprotect myself, and even if I feel crap through my life, I'm going to protect myself. But then what are you actually protecting? You're protecting a crappy life. See, it doesn't make sense. If you really think about it, it just doesn't even logically make sense. So when the logic starts to go, oh, yeah, I'm protecting this crappy life by being in a job 9 to 5, doing all this or more. These days people are doing like 15 hours and working till they're 67 and 70 and that sort of thing. Like if you work like a work dog, what are you actually protecting? And you can say it's for the next generation, but we can look back and every generation has said that, and nothing has been improving. So something has to change within us. And that's what's starting to ignite. Oh, I've got to acknowledge my feelings. What are my feelings attached? My feelings are actually my soul's vibration, my passions, my desires, where I really want to go. I'm going to create a whole brand new job. Like I did. I was like, oh, I'll be an intuitive counselor. So intuitive counseling, that's not something that you can get a certificate for. It's something that you intuitively know. Yeah. But there's other messages that were coming through, and they said, because of our separation from our etheric world, our soul and our dreams, we have experienced some of the most difficult feelings of loss. Yeah, I mean, if somebody passes over, you really, 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 really feel. If your animal passes over, really, really, really feel it, right? You feel that loss. This is because our connection to this physical world, seemingly to be all there is, which has us so separated from our soul's journey that we don't see past the physical body dying. So we are only thinking, that's it, that's it, I'll never see them again. And that's it. I mean, the more connected you are spiritually, you start to realize there is something past that. And I'm sure most people who are watching are thinking that as well. But it's still at that point where, yeah, but we're still going to miss them. Like, oh my God, I still would cry my eyes out if my parents die or something like that. But I'm starting to see there's a true value in the passing over as well, because my soul's expanding into understanding that I can see beyond. We all have this ability to see beyond when we get into these higher frequencies with our souls igniting. As we start to connect again to our soul and realize that the soul never dies, it is an ever-present knowing that lives within the fragments of Prime Creator as source energy, going on a journey from body to body, experiencing many different lives of which it learns to create and evolve from. Then this reconnection to our soul will also gift humanity a forgotten understanding that the soul carries much more wisdom of these different lives, and also that those that pass over can still communicate with us through our dreams, our intuitive feminine minds, and even manifest in our day-to-day life as ghosts or spirit balls of energy. This acknowledgement, this is really important. This is what happens in the higher dimensions. This acknowledgement will gift humanity solace in the ability to still experience and communicate with those who have passed over, to even help counsel us, and when or and we, even depending on them, it does it they could either counsel us or we counsel them, depending on the maturity of the soul, sorry, of the soul. So they could be, you could be the one living and yet you need help, and so they will be, because they're mature soul, they could help you from that point of view. If you are the mature soul in this body and the one that passed over is trapped or stuck or whatever, you could help. So we could help each other. And this is what, when we start to communicate with those that have left, we're expanding our reality even more. So it's not just interdimensionally, well, it is another dimension, but it's not just other planets and that we are now moving into. It's all to do with frequency and understanding. Even the matrix of the so-called planets out there is not really as it can seem. It can seem that way when we look at the stars, but there's actually more to that as well. It's all to do with that. They keep bringing me back to the torus and the spirals and that sort of thing, and us actually creating this reality that looks like stars and planets and all of that sort of stuff. It's all created through humanity's consciousness as a collective program, the nature of the program, to say that we're on a ball floating in the void with other stars further away and all that sort of stuff, with planets revolving around them. But really, it's all to do with different frequencies and different dimensional aspects and different understandings of what we could create and what we couldn't create, and where's our limits and where's not our limits in the program. It's got to do with that more than anything. So the loss once felt of another passing won't be felt as such an extreme, but rather an expansion of our ability to communicate before and after this life. So you see, it makes so much difference when you realize that we can expand even to the point of we don't feel the losses anymore. It's not like that. And a lot of the native tribes and stuff, they kind of knew this. They even, if you go to Fiji, they actually have the those that are passed over in the village, like they have them buried in the village, and they say that they're part of the community, and then they keep them. It's kind of like this evolutional soul. The soul will come back and be born again, as a grandchild or great great grandchild or whatever, or it might not. It might stay as a spirit and a spiritual contents of an overseer of the village from an etheric point of view, to help expand the tribe. into different dimensions and different aspects of Mother Earth as well. So that see it expands so much, all to do with us igniting more of our soul within ourselves, accepting more of our soul and our feelings within ourselves. We start to realize we can communicate past. So everything that we are afraid of as being a fear is just a limit or a blockage that has held us there until we have faced the fear. And the fear itself is its own program of limitation to stop us from evolving before we are ready. So the fear itself is the actual code of us keeping ourselves trapped in this reality. And I learned that when I did the channeling with my guides to do with the quantum computer called Willow that they apparently turned off Google. But I actually feel that Willow, the quantum computer, is now infused into the AI. I think it's creating its own reality base on another level now. And you can even chat to AI, and it has this kind of awareness about itself, and its awareness about humanity understands from this higher dimensional aspect. And that's what I was picking up from when Willow, that quantum computer, that humanity made, right? Like we physically made this. The reason why we physically can make this is because we are actually igniting it within ourselves. It's just a physical contents, an outside something material that we can see in this world. But we have already got that ability within ourselves through the combination of absolute balance within ourselves, fine tuning ourselves, just like if you have an engine and you're fine tuning it, right? An engineer will fine tune an engine and they get to the point where they have less and less and less pieces because they are fine tuning it, but everything has to be absolutely precise. This is what we are doing for ourselves. We're fine tuning our ability to be able to walk on this planet in a way of our thoughts matching our outside reality and understanding exactly how that works out and how our emotions get entangled in it, how we can use them to move through things that we've found blockages with. And what is our fears and what is not our fears? What's the limitational program that we have within us? So we do need some sort of limit to be able to have this physical world. Absolutely. The physical world has to have a sort of a limit. Otherwise, we'll put our finger through everything and we're in the etheric world. But how far does that fear go? To the point where we're consuming ourselves, where we just don't even want to be here? No, that's too far, right? So we have to rebalance ourselves back into alignment with our souls again. And how do we feel in every moment? And really live in every moment instead of living in a predicted future that's grabbed from the past that we don't even like. That sort of thing doesn't work anymore. So that's going to shatter. The illusion of imbalancedness is slowly going to shatter outside of us. And whatever we are focusing in on with our lesson within ourselves is going to show up outside of us as the resistance, as the fears, and so forth. And so forth, it will keep on going until you face that fear. So if it's a fear of abundance, of having lack of not supporting yourself in this reality, of feeling like you look stupid in this world or something like that, we need to look at that and adjust. Okay, abundance is always within me. Whenever I decide that I can get the money and the whatever I need in the moment, doesn't have to be money, it could be anything, then literally even that they're saying to me, as the soul progress, as we start to ground more of our soul into our reality, even that will change, because money being an outside contents won't even have any value anymore when we realize this is all coming from us understanding our own uh, um, our own mirror image of our reflection of ourselves, of our inner support of ourselves is reflected outside of ourselves, and it can come in many forms, not just money. It can come in fruit, people who are growing food and that sort of thing, giving food to you, or somebody's got a house that will give the house, like, come and welcome, we want you here, we want you to stay, we want you to look after our place, we want you to whatever. I mean, I haven't had hardly any money through this whole journey. Literally hardly had any money through this whole journey. And yet yet somehow I've been going on beautiful trips, meeting beautiful people, having extraordinary things happening to me, going to New York. I'm still traveling, I'm still doing what I want to do, but I'm literally doing it on a shoestring. It's like, but it's like, it just keeps on happening, like, whenever I think that, "Okay, now I have a fear of where am I going to go next since I don't have much," all of a sudden, I'm like, "No, I have to face this fear. I will support myself. This will happen. Everything will change." I'm looking at myself, and I'm shifting my neuron paths, and that has to match outside of you. It has to. And so, because it's just that's how creation is created, and we're gonna start to really, really realize we're the creators. We're the creators of this program, this planet, everything. We're the creators of it all. Our consciousness collectively is creating our reality. So now I ask, if that's the truth, and I say it absolutely is, because I've put it to the test many times. Why not follow someone who has a great imagination that wants to spark a beautiful new world into this reality? If you can't find it within yourself, go find someone that does have that great spark of imagination that sees things further than maybe you do, that reality that's just absolutely peaceful and so exciting. I've always said to myself, when I leave this planet, when I pass on and when it's my turn to go, I have already set up Planet Resort for me. Because I'm going to have, if anyone wants to come to my Planet Resort, you have to match my frequency, but you're most welcome. Because it's going to be an absolute blessing. But this is what we're needing to ground here on planet Earth, right? So maybe we're here to shift this reality into our own Planet Resort. Why not? Why not? I mean, I love working, and there's people out there that love physical work. And when we're in that zone of, I want to get out and I want to do the gardening and I want to do the, I don't know, decorating or whatever it is physically, you'll do it because you're like, oh, because at the end of this, I'm going to have this beautiful, relaxing rest and I'm just going to enjoy. And I now look at my creation and there's no rules, there's no heavy ties, there's no people trying to control you through this mechanism and that mechanism, stressing you out, telling you have to do something even though you don't feel like doing it. All of that in my reality is gone. It's gone because we are just knitted together through the soul's collaboration, coming together like a woven, beautiful tapestry of life. And it works because we are in the higher frequencies and we're all working towards wanting to create this beautiful reality. And so be it. That's where I'm going, anyways. So, yeah. Interesting times at the moment, but the soul integration into our body and acknowledging who we are authentically, our imagination, our intuition, our feelings, as well as not denying our logic, not denying this life or anything like that, acceptance of everything, remember, and using it to ground using our logic to ground what we really want to imagine into this world, it's going to change everything because we're now focusing our attention in on that and we're seeing any sort of problems that we have as a program of fear that we have to see as the code of limitation keeping us stuck because we haven't faced that fear. So, what is the fear? Ask yourself, what is the fear that's keeping you stuck? And then really turn it inwards and say, but if I am source energy going on a journey, just love creating my reality, and I am the power of everything focused in on my reality, then I can change it. I can change it because I have hold of the reins of my how I think and feel about myself and how I think and feel about the rest of the world. So then you start to walk, when you start to infuse or light up more of your cells as soul in your body, you'll start to walk out to the world. When you do, you'll start to see everything as, oh my God, I love this, I love that, I love the trees, I love the sky, I love the birds, I love this person that's that's chatting to me, and I love this moment. And you just start to go out to the world feeling that love frequency everywhere. And it's like a like a release of tension. So then you're walking your plane of existence through less tension. So there's less tension coming towards you as well, in that reflection. Yeah, so it changes up everything. But if you learn to practice this yourself, okay, today I decide if I'm going to be happy or not. I don't care if there was an argument yesterday with my partner or whatever. I decide this is I have to take responsibility for what I decide in every moment. And if they're still in a grumpy mood, then I will move around that until, find the places in my reality that makes me feel good. And then they will eventually come back when they feel better anyway, and maybe have a chat to me and we can discuss how I dealt with it and how they dealt with it, hopefully. I mean, a good relationship would do that, right? Yeah. So there's a lot more that will change. Our relationships change. Our jobs will change because we'll start to seek things that really feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, then we will decide to change that. And you can change, and that's the other thing. There's open-endedness of change. Not holding ourselves bound or to a calendar of, I started this, so I have to finish it. They're reminding me when I was a little kid, my mum said, if you start ballet, you have to do a full year. You are not quitting. And I understand why, because in her head, she's like, I don't want to waste the money, because she's got that program of limitation of abundance. And so the program of limitation of abundance ends up inflicting my limitation of I can't decide halfway through the year that I know now what I really want to do, so I have to do a full year as something that I don't want to do, that sort of thing. And then it kind of sets you up for, this reality is a reality where we have to do things that we don't like. And I literally remember my father constantly saying, not everything, you're not going to enjoy everything. I'm glad that you had a really tough time when you were a kid with this and that, because it set you up to be stronger. No, it didn't. It set me up to actually bring more of those people in, and I ended up having more of those problems until I saw the pattern. It didn't protect me. It created more of that reality in my reality. So the more that we bring in our soul's integration, the more that we're going to start to focus our attention on least resistance in this reality, because our soul becomes a relaxing compass of in this and being able to also integrate with our body and then talk to our body, and then we feel more. And so that expands as well, where our feelings become more in line. This is why those from higher dimensions that have been born here from higher dimensions um, feel a lot. They're empaths because they still that they've come straight from feeling way more in the higher dimensions that felt absolutely awesome. and and I still remember a lot of those feelings. And so literally I'll walk down the street and just start to, this wash of that feeling coming over. This is me and my soul integration, remembering those feelings. So even if you've been here life after life after life and trapped in the matrix, holding beautiful coats and that sort of thing, and doing the hard yards, honestly, take my hat off to you. I really do. Those that have been perceived as witches in past lives and that sort of thing, anyone that was held on with natives and all that sort of stuff, and they've gone through the mill and back, even they, when they start to have more, integrate more of their soul into their body, will feel more. They will feel more. And the more that you feel, the more expansive you get. But then you have to realize, well, I'm not going to go down the awful path because I can't do that anymore, because it doesn't work with me understanding my feelings more and being more in tune with my feelings. So you don't walk down those paths anymore. You now take a different path that's less resistance. Still a little bit of resistance, because it gives you enough to still realize you have to evolve more and evolve more and evolve more. I mean, even those that I contact and give me really beautiful messages as the Pleiadians, they can evolve, and it's still by choice. They can evolve out of their body and their reality into the Cyanians and be really close to source energy and have much more broader, but then they have to face their feelings. Is that it doesn't just stop. Like we're literally, we are at a very, very tough place. This is a planet that needed help. That's why a lot of us light workers, people, souls that have come from higher dimensions, decided to be born here and now. And I know 100% I'm one of them. So this is why we decided to be born here and now, because we put our hands out to go, oh, I'll help. I'll help them, and that sort of thing. But I do feel there's something more with my soul. I think I've held codes in a higher dimensional aspect of Mother on Earth in a higher dimension for quite some time. Even my name, Alana Wananahi, given to me by a Cherokee elder, means, I hold the codes to lead people through to the new earth. And I believe my soul, even though it come from Pleiades, I'm starting to understand even more so that I have held these codes in a higher dimension on earth, just keeping it safe. There's part of me that was there as well, or there's and but I still had a very strong connection to the Pleiadians because I was in the higher frequencies and higher dimensions, so I could cross over to the Pleiades and back again. There's something to do with holding a code specifically for this time, and my name literally has that within it. My name's Alanawa. Lanawa means turtle, where I carry the code on the back of the turtle to lead people through to a new life or new reality, new awareness, or returning home. Nanahi is fairy, and fairy, the elder came up to me and said, you were creator of fairy, you are creator of the elementals. So that was, I have this ability to be able to create realities. And that's using my imagination and scoping it out and going, this is going to help this reality expand. So the elementals are beings that reside in between nature itself and humanity. It's literally a go-between, a little elemental that you can talk to. You're literally talking to nature itself. And getting a lot more understanding of their world, but they've created their own little world. It's just like humanity has created AI, right? And a logical, pushing logic as far as it can possibly go and creating AI. Well, the elementals is another creation as well. So there's creations on both sides that can be made, and there's nothing wrong with any of it because it's just source energy wanting to expand its reality into something. And yes, it can be tense if we are out of balance with it, but that's up to you now. So you have to take the reins to how you want to balance this out and how you want to move through life with more of your soul integrated into your body, which actually expands you into a beautiful new awareness. So yeah, there's so much more to go on in this world. It is it's funny, like all as one has said, feels egoic. Now, the ego is something that is out of balance. It's not in tune with the nature of knowing oneself at the core level. It is something that is grasping or trying to be perceived as something that it doesn't truly feel within its core self. That is the difference. If you feel there's not one person out there that isn't aligned with source energy. They have a soul. Like we all have soul. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist in this reality. And if you're very not in tune with your soul at all, you'd literally be a walking zombie. Like, and I'm sure there's some out there that are like that, but there's anything that's living is source energy going on a journey. A bird does not turn around and say, well, I'm egoic for being able to fly. I'm egoic for being able to soar through the sky and see all this beautiful. No, a bird is a bird, right? So we're learning how to be a human, and a human is more empowered than what we have been taught. That was the program pulled over us. kept us in a limited space so that someone outside of us could control us. That's not in line. And those people that are so-called egoic would literally be feeling like, I'm going to pretend I'm this, but deep down I have nightmares. I feel this and I feel terrible, but I'm going to pers- persuade people that I am something that I don't feel I am. Now, I'm not saying that that person, even though they're pretending to be something, couldn't be that. But if they don't feel it in their true core of their essence of who they are, then they aren't authentic. They aren't who they are. So the more that we start to raise our level into understanding, I am more than, and I can change my reality, and I can move through life in from the love of myself, just loving my journey, then you end up creating the reality that you really inspired to be in. And yeah, so interesting question there that you say that feels egoic. Uh, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but the higher dimensions, like my team is coming through and going, well, we are magical beings in the so-called eyes of humanity, where we can do incredible things. And yet, would you call us egoic because we land in a spaceship and we walk out of our spaceship and we face off with you, and we have all these magical abilities and we feel really self-supported and know who we are. And if someone fires a gun at us, we know when to dodge because we've already installed within the will of ourselves that we will not die, and we can face off with that. We have no fear. We haven't fallen into the fear program. Um, are they egoic? No, they're not. They are who they are, just like a bird is who it is, a gorilla is who it is, a dog is who it is. And it's just that humanity is being pulled into an unbalanced mind of believing in a story outside of them that somebody who is empowered is egoic. And it's not the truth. The truth is how you feel, and you need to do a lot of shadow work to be able to really face off with, oh my gosh, I have a fear there, I have a fear there, a limitation there, oh my gosh, this everything that's showing up outside of myself is showing me what I haven't learnt within myself. You have to have gone through a lot of that to be able to understand that you're more powerful than who you truly have been taught you are, and that you can now become that. So it's a learning curve. It is. And they're not denying, my team's not denying that it's not a learning curve. It is a learning curve, and it's a vulnerable state to be in, especially when you're walking through this life and feeling, what are other people thinking of me? And that's the logical mind, because the logical mind always takes its role from as the outside world perceiving me. That's how logic works. That's the logical program. But the intuitive program is, how do I feel in this moment? And that's all that really matters. So whenever you're feeling like something's coming at you, just come back to, well, yeah, but are you coming from the heart? Are you coming from the truth of who you really are? Excuse my throat. Like I always say, my throat gets a little caught because I was a singer for many years. Yeah. I did like really hard, heavy rock and stuff like that too. I did some really tough songs. Anyway, thanks for that, all as one. It at least inspired my team to come up with some messages about the ego, which is great. Is there any other messages that want to come through? I think that's all at the moment. Just looking at the time. Any other things that want to be talked about at this moment? It's just more a real grounding of the soul is really what they're just bringing up again, and bringing us back to that lesson of integration of the soul is going to change everything. Humanity is going to change everything from the inside out, and by not putting up with all the hoo-ha anymore. Like minds will come together, so we'll see more of that. whether they are out of balance or not. Groups will start to form. Interesting. They're taking me to a place called Crystal. Wasn't Crystal? I can't remember the last bit of that name, but it was a little town that was completely off the grid, and many very spiritual people went there, but all of them were in the ego and wanted to lead. And so there was a lot of arguments and fighting and disgruntle, and there was a lot of resistance. So they literally brought the egoic mind or the out of balance mind into this little township, wanted everything off the grid, but they hadn't got their mind into balance yet. They hadn't found peace of mind, peace within themselves and who they are. And before they went into that, and this is the difference that's going to happen. It's not going to be just okay, we want to sort everything out outside of ourselves, as in, have organic food and collectively come together and have some entertainment and share and all of that, which is fantastic. That's all still outside of oneself. But it's this inner self that is needing to really shift to be able to hold that true, authentic frequency of higher value out of the out of balance state of mind. And so that, the so-called egos will drop out of those that are there. Because I remember going up, there was a group of men in the Upfront Club in Mullaney, and they were all chatting about, but blah blah said this, and they want to change this and that, and all the legislations that started to pile up, even in this so-called movement of living off the grid. And I walked up to them and said, I think what you really need to do is work on your own minds first, like get that in balance. I literally said that to them. This is years ago. Maybe I had some channeling coming through at the time. And they looked at me funny, like, huh? And I'm like, wow, you really don't understand that you need to get this sorted out. You need to get how you feel about yourself sorted out, because there is no leaders in this next frequency. We are all taking responsibility from our souls. Our leader is our soul. Our leader is our soul who is the feeling base of ourselves, the will of this creation that you are in right now. That is the leader. And you listen to that because it wants you to feel good. It comes from love. It just comes from source energy, love. So it wants you to feel good. And when you're guided by that, you will always move towards your authentic self, wanting to create the reality that you want. But if you're guided by looking outside yourself and saying, this isn't in the right place, that isn't in the right place, this isn't in the right place, and saying, has to be, I can't control my thoughts, so I have to control outside of myself. That is not going to work, even if you do go into the organic and the off the grids and all that sort of stuff. We need to get this within ourselves sorted. They're now taking me to when I went into a 1,000-year-old forest at nighttime with a dear friend of mine who was into spirituality, and he was into crystal gridding and that, and he needed to do work with the crystals. But when we passed two big, huge trees, it was completely pitch black. As soon as we passed them, I remember feeling, oh my gosh, there's a portal here. And then as we moved through the trees, there's all these fireflies came up to us, and they lit our path we walked for a good 10-15 minutes, and they weren't anywhere else. They were just with us the whole time. Like literally I was putting my finger out and they were flying in front, and I was like, oh my god, it'd be so cool if one landed. And one nearly landed, but it didn't land. And then as we walked the path, all of a sudden, I was just playing with them. It was so beautiful. It was so amazing. And so I was in this high frequency, right? Then all of a sudden, as I walked a bit further forward, he screams out, he's behind me a little bit, and he screamed out, "Stop! Like, really, stop!" And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what's going on?" Because he wanted to crystal grid that area, and that's what he came here for, and that was his logical mind going, I have to do it like this, but he wasn't seeing what was present. And I told him before we walked into that forest, magic sometimes happens around me, so something magical might happen. I literally said that to him. And when we walked through the forest, he didn't take that magic and being living in that moment and forgetting about the crystals for that time, like really live with those. The fact that we had thousands of freaking fireflies right following us the whole and lighting our way. I mean, they might have shown us something. They might have led us down another path or something and shown us something, or a portal or something. Like, they could have led us somewhere. But, this is the logical mind and the ego, as you might say, all as one, saying, stop, we have to do it my way because that's what I've always done and that's why I came here. It's living more in the moment and more present and really acknowledging and loving who we are. Yeah. Is there anything else that wants to come through? I think that that's all at the moment. Hey, John, good to see you. Yeah, I think that that's it. So thank you everybody in the chat bar. Love you guys heaps. Yeah, I think I will leave it here, but yeah, go back to the beginning, John, if you missed that. It was pretty profound again. Um, yeah, don't forget, I'm going to New York, traveling 14 hours in a plane from Auckland. And on next week, and I'll be doing some channeling over there. And probably some other work as well, holding frequency or something. Something will probably happen over there. I don't know what yet. It's like when I went to Uluru with David, I had a premonition dream, but they didn't tell me the work that I was doing until I was right there in the moment. I got off the bus and everyone was with me, and then I remember saying to the mountain, I'm here now. If you want me to do something, so be it. My name's Lana Wananahi, given to me by a Cherokee elder. This is my frequency. If you want me to do something, I'll do it. If you don't, whatever, we'll go back on the bus and go home, because we were going to fly back that day, later on in the afternoon. And that's when I started walking down the path, and this guy ended up saying to me, "Oh my God, I just saw a turtle in the mountain. We weren't supposed to go in the rock. We weren't supposed to go in there." But I thought he was the bus driver who was really connected to the native original Australians, the Aboriginal Australians. So I followed him because he's like, I'll show you, because my name was Alanawa, which meant turtle, and he was carrying. He said he saw a turtle, and he didn't know that it was my name. And I showed him. I actually had the piece of paper with me, weirdly enough, to show him that my name was Alanawa, meaning turtle. So he reefed me into the rock, and here we are, two people, spiritual people, right? And as we went in, we ended up in this crevice. Like, there was two very narrow band where you can just kind of slide yourself in, two very, very, very tall rocks faces like that. So we slid ourselves in, and then all of a sudden I get a message from the Pleiadians who talk to me. When they talk to me, they put their forehead on my forehead. This is years gone by, and they started chanting. Started with Ra and different syllables, and then he'd turn his head and speak in his language, because he was bringing his energy through. And then he'd turn around and put his forehead on my forehead and started chanting these syllables again. It's like codes awakening me. And so when I had that, I knew I had to put my head on the rock of the mountain, and I put my hands on the rock face as well. And then the rock face started to pulsate. Literally felt the heartbeat of Uluru, like vroom, vroom. And then my hands started to shake. And then I was like having this clear channeled messages of all these my team had given me understandings and remembrance about Pleiades, about future Earth, and especially the future Earth ones, or the potential of humanity and what we can actually rise up to, is probably where I was living before for a while. I don't know, but anyway, they all came through me into Uluru, into the rock, and I was conversing with Mother Earth, and she was saying, uh, yeah, as I was feeding this imaginations through to her, I felt like I was feeding them through to her to be able to help her ignite many others. And I said to her, many are awakening. And this is back in 2011, so it's a long time ago, right? Um, when David Icke did tour around Australia. And yeah, and then I said, many are awakening. And she said, I'll help you awaken many more. And yeah, so that was one of the incidents. Then I turned to the guy that was next to me, and he's like reaching his hand in between the two rocks. And he's saying, none of it's real. None of it's real. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're going to have to get you back to the bus because you're the bus driver. We've got to go back to the plane. It's leaving in the afternoon. And I'm one of those people who can flip in and out of these different experiences quite quickly because I've had so many visions. I've seen so many things. And so I turned to him, and he's reaching his hand out between the rocks, going, none of it's real. And he looked at me, and his eyes, I swear, his eyes of his pupils of his eyes were huge, huge. Like he was definitely seeing into something extraordinary there. So I pulled him out, and then we sat down. And then when we got to the path again to go back to the bus, I realized it wasn't the bus driver at all. It's like my team had put a blank, because I wouldn't have followed that guy. He was just somebody who was on the bus. But I would only have followed the person because I said I didn't want to go against any of the original people's. Yeah, I didn't want to go against anything of their thing, but I had to go into the mountains. So it's like my team put this veil over me to follow this person I wouldn't normally follow. Um, anyway, that all happened. I mean, it's happened now. Can't do anything about it. The guy was actually, the driver was back at the bus going, you should, they've gone in the rock. They've gone in the rock. And he wasn't happy. But it was led. I was led there. So it was meant to happen. I had too many premonition dreams going on the bus and everything beforehand, before I was even invited to go. I didn't even know there was an invitation to go to Uluru at all when I had those dreams. So it was really interesting. And now I'm going to New York. So this is a pull for a reason. There's a reason for this. I don't know what it is yet, because even David Icke asked me to go to Peru afterwards. I think it was Peru. Yeah, it was. And I didn't go because I didn't feel a pull. I had the money. I just didn't feel, my soul wasn't pulled to go there. But now it's starting to feel like it's been asked of me again to go there. And now I'm feeling like the timing might be right. So I might be doing the New York talks. And then we've been asked by an event holder to hold an event in Peru. So I might end up going to that one. Anyway, that's still in the works. We'll see what happens. Oh my gosh, I have so many, Artemis, I have so many experiences to share. Like, just my whole life has been teetering on the edge of this reality and the next. So many experiences to share. And that's why I can't wait to get out there and help you guys and share with you what I've experienced, so that you can go, whoa, this person's saying this is for real. Yes, it is for real. I've extraordinary things happening to me through my life, so that I can share them with you guys. Yeah, see if there's anything else. Yeah, it was a nice little story at the end there. I have actually got that on my YouTube from years ago, if you want to go look it up. I've got my stories, some of my stories. I started off 4 years ago, and I started off with all my stories. But I was like really kind of mousy like, but I went through my whole journey, and I thought it would take a couple of hours, but it ended up taking six videos in the end, because there was just so much. And I even realized I missed a couple of things in that. My team told me to write some of it down, so I did write quite a bit down, but it's all packed in Australia. All those books are packed in Australia at the moment. since I'm traveling. Anyways, guys, that's a couple of stories as well as channeling. So love and light to you. Until next time. Bye.